Grand Rising. Happy Saturday, guys. Happy Saturday. We are so glad to be here today to serve you nonprofit leaders and entrepreneurs, guys. This is actually a very special Saturday. I have a big announcement that I'm going to make at the end, which is good news. It's going to give us the opportunity to share even more nonprofits with you and to come on to even more larger platforms as well. So I'll talk about that at the end, guys. But today, as you can see, guys, we have a very special guest. She's going to be introducing herself momentarily. But as you guys are just coming in, tell me where you're coming in from. And also, guys, go ahead and answer this question. I know you've accomplished something. You've accomplished some kind of goals in some type of way. What is it that you do daily to help and to ensure that you accomplish your goals? What are you doing right now that's working, guys? Let's help each other out. Entrepreneurs are all super busy. And the biggest thing is, a lot of times, the biggest complaint I hear is time. So if you have a piece of advice, something that you do to get your things accomplished, please put them below. But that's actually exactly what we're going to be talking about today as well, guys. Joycelyn's going to be sharing how she's moved her nonprofit further, and some big news as well, guys, that we'll share momentarily that she just found out about right before coming on live, guys. So come on in, share your answers. Where are you calling from? How you doing today? Hey, Trina. Hey, do you have a nonprofit? Do you have a for-profit? And where are you calling in from, guys? What do you do calling in from? Where am I at? I'm back in 1990s radio. That's my husband. He's been listening to our podcast radio, and they be like, where you calling in from? Mm-hmm. But guys, where are you watching from? How's the weather there? It is like beating hot here. How is it there right now? Hot as well?
Yes.
Yeah, the same thing. Yeah. Like, just hot. Then we're going to go into a rainy season. Well, we'll go ahead and let you chime in. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Joycelyn. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to start a nonprofit.
Okay, well, happy Saturday to you all out here in internet land. My name is Joycelyn Smith. I'm the founder of Love to Life, Inc., and it is based out of Atlanta, Georgia. So Love to Life, Inc. was basically an idea because I am by trade a school counselor, and I run into many families, single moms, single fathers, grandparents, even couples that face possibly losing their homes or not having anywhere to go. So the goal of Love to Life is to house or to help basically restore families. I know that there's a lot of organizations out there that will help battered women, mothers with children of a certain age. You have your homeless shelters, but they're only good for a couple hours of the day. And that's an everyday process of having to go back every day to see if they have a bed or whatever. And so Love to Life wants to be a 2-year program where we restore families, just giving them life skills, financial wealth, education, if they're illiterate. My thing is, if we fill the buckets of the parents, they're able to give the children what they need. And so one of our mottos is when the roots of the tree are watered, the branches can grow. So our parents are the tree, and our children are the branches. And so Love to Life just wants to be a catalyst for families to stay together and rebuild. Honestly,
that's awesome.
It's very necessary.
And you this desire kind of rooted, I would say, somewhat from your connection already to the community and seeing the area of need in your own personal community. You serve in the education field, correct?
Yes, I am a school counselor. I have worked from elementary on up through high school, but I see it all the time. I talk to these parents, and they share because they just are trusting, and I'm just an open person. So when they share this information, it hurts my heart a little bit because knowing that I've started this nonprofit now and I don't have anywhere for them to go yet. But knowing that there is a need for it.
And it's so important to be tied to the need and know what the need is in your community, how it's already being fulfilled or not being fulfilled, and where those gaps are. When you start with the gaps, it's easy to bridge partnerships, and that'll lead into our news that we have. Well, wait, before we share the big news that she got right before we came on here, Trina said, I don't have a nonprofit, but I do love to support nonprofits. Awesome. You're in GA, a bit gloomy. I'm kind of waiting on the gloom. I'm normally all into the sunny, but I just been hot. So
Yeah.
we're supposed to get some rain Monday. Hello, Keandra. Hello. Hey, honey. That's my husband watching as well. So tell us about your good news before we jump into the topic of the day that you got right before you came on here.
Yes, so I actually applied for a grant with Costco and just got an email today that we were granted $250 towards, our initiatives. So I'm like, anything is great news. So, like you said, anything small or big.
Woo!
So
Yes.
yes.
You get the tambourine now. Yes, that's great news. And those are all seeds. Remembering that the grant process, guys, just a little steer off before we get into our topic of how to accomplish daily goals. Now she found my tambourine.
I love it. I love it.
But those grants, no matter how much they are, they're seeds. So the grant process, I'm just going to give a little background. I know you've heard this before, Joycelyn. The grant process is like a snowball process, and just like the process of building your career, you're building the resume for your nonprofit organization. So anything that anyone gives you is an investment. What you do with that investment, you document and you make sure that you really serve the area of the community that you're wanting to serve. And you utilize that to be able to attract more donations and more donations. But sometimes people are going after the large donations and they get so focused on the large donations that they kind of lose sight to the process and to the building process, which can be sometimes long. And
Yes.
sometimes it's a slow build. It's a marathon, as they say, you
Yes,
know?
it is. Yes, it
So
is.
congratulations. That's great
Thank
news to
you.
know right
Thank
before
you.
you come on here, that you got a grant and now partnered with Costco's. You guys have to make sure that you look at what each of those things represent. That's a partnership. That's a tie now. So that can go onto her resume. The amount doesn't even necessarily have to go onto the resume. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Just that they have that partnership, and that all adds to the grants that you can get in the future as well. So, but let's jump into how you even got that Costco grant, because you had to fill out the application. You had to do some daily steps and things like that. Did you already always start off at the beginning of building this nonprofit? Did you start with that momentum and with those actions, or was this a progression to
It
where you are now?
it was definitely a progression. So, um, I am one of Tracy's clients, and so she is my nonprofit coach. And so I get so much value in watching her podcast on Saturdays. I also get so much value from just, you have those, I think, weekly videos that you might give 15 to
Mhm.
30 minutes of information. Well, with that, I was able to go on to Urban Awareness and I've signed up. And so they send me daily information. And so they'll let you know when there are grants available. And so I just simply said, hey, I'm going to apply for that. And that's what I did. And so Urban Awareness was a great tool. And they have so many different podcasts during the week where how to do in-kind donations, how to do car donations, homes, all of that stuff. So it's invaluable getting that education, like your guest last week said. you know um, Educate yourself in the field that you are in so that you have what you need to move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the education empowers you.
It
So once
does.
you understand, like, oh, okay, what is the process? Because one thing we were talking about right before you came on here was just talking about knowing what the next step is, and kind of complicating the process. So sometimes you
Mhm.
have these grandiose goals, which is great. You want to start there, but then
Mhm.
you want to break it down. Okay, so from this, so if my vision and my goal is, for instance, with your organization, your vision and goal is one day to have a facility, correct?
Yes.
So your vision is to have a facility. That's a huge goal, and there may be a time stamp or a goal time stamp on that vision, but you want to break it down to what can I do this year to get myself closer
Mhm.
to this vision. Now, how can I serve my community best this month, this quarter, this month, down to this week, down to a daily action step that you can
Mhm.
do. And that's what you want to focus on. One thing that I was telling Joycelyn before this was, in the health arena, there was someone that always says, don't make your goal to lose 50 pounds, or don't make your goal to, it may start there. But what do you need to do every day to lose 50 pounds? If that's, I need to exercise for 15 to 20 minutes. All right.
Mhm.
Well, 15 to 20 minutes every day. That's my goal. Your goal is not, and then you add on to that. I want to start stopping eating at a certain time, whatever those things are. And hey, Keisha Thomas. Keisha Thomas just came into the room, guys. She actually has some property that she was that was donated to her as a nonprofit organization. So shout out to her. Those are all good.
Awesome.
She's in our programs as well.
Mhm.
She said, "Yep, that's so important." So let's talk about your tips on how you really stay focused in getting that one thing per day for your nonprofit.
So I remember having a conversation with you in one of our meetings, and I basically said, and I'll say this to anybody: if you can give 9, 10, 12 hours a day to your job that you work, whether it's salaried or hourly or whatever it is, a lot of people who are salary, we still come home and do work. I know in the education field, work never stops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up sometimes to 12 o'clock at night doing work because I want to get it done because it's a lot. So if you can give that amount of time to your regular job, then you can definitely set aside at least 30 minutes a day to do something for your business, for your nonprofit, whatever it is, whether it's that goal that you want to accomplish, set aside 30 minutes, like you were just saying with health. If I want to lose this amount of weight, then hey, I'm going to set aside 30 minutes just to exercise, just to meditate, just to whatever it is. Set that goal, and it doesn't have to be a grandiose goal, but just start. I think a lot of times we get stopped by procrastination and fear that what we really want is not what we see at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
um, but we have to keep going. Like I just want to say, I want to motivate whoever's out there listening now or in the future. Like you got this. You know, it takes one step at a time. And just do something towards that goal, whether it is looking up grants during the day, or whether it is having that conversation. I think I was just telling you, Tracy, before we started, I got my shirts made, and so there's three different
Let's take
shirts.
a look at. Let's take
Okay,
a
so this
look
is
at the
one.
shirt.
Yes.
Let's see.
This is our
Love
baseball
tonight.
tee.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so when I wear this shirt, that may even prompt a conversation with someone that sees me wearing the shirt. Oh, well, what's that? And so you can even take, that goal of 30 minutes doing something for your nonprofit or your organization to just have a conversation with someone. I've had literally 3 to 5 conversations this week with people on my way to work, on my way home, from work, just in my car, because Atlanta traffic is just enough to where you can do that. You can have a good 30-minute conversation on your way to wherever you're
That can be your
going.
dedicated time. Every time I'm traveling, every time
Yes.
you can link it to something that you're doing anyway. That's going to be my time that I have these 30-minute conversations, or that I talk to some people
Mhm.
about the nonprofit and what I'm doing. Absolutely.
Yes. So, like, just linking with people that are doing what you're doing. Don't recreate the wheel,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, there are many organizations out here doing the same thing. And so it's great to get that knowledge from them, because they might have been doing, a lady that I spoke to this week, she's been doing housing facilities since 1996.
Oh my goodness.
She got years in the game. So
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't I want to connect with her and say, "Hey, this is my vision." And she was like, "Oh, the vision is great. And this is what you're going to run into, and try this and go here." And I asked her, how did you market? Facebook Marketplace. Oh, that's wonderful. Like, you're already on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So, people need housing. And she helps single people, but she was just saying, you would have to make sure that the personalities work well together, those types of things. So I'm getting those nuggets all throughout the week. So just make yourself available to put yourself and your organization out there. Have that conversation.
Absolutely. It sounds like you are focusing on the opportunities that are around you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, sometimes again, when we talk about, and I love a big vision. I'm all for big visions. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to sound like it's like, don't have that big vision. It's just so important to break that down and then really become real with yourself and decide how much time do I really have. One thing I want to talk about to minority women specifically is over putting too much on our plate. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And just having too much on our plate. There's really, one thing that I really started to do that really made a big shift for me is two things. One is, and I'll say for your nonprofit, you should just have one thing that you want to do per day, like just like you said. But in general, I typically have three big dial priorities. Things that I'm doing that day that are really going to be turning the dials, that are really important. Sometimes these things that are really turning the dials may not be the thing that takes a lot of time. Like you said, it could be one conversation, it could be one video that another person watches and another person watches, and it may not even look like in the public eye. It might have 4 views on there or something like that, but one of
Mm-hmm.
those views was somebody that needed to view it, that wanted to link with your mission and wanted to link with your vision and wanted to assist you in some way or wanted to partner. Nonprofits are really big on partnership. You got to think the leaders of nonprofits and people who work for nonprofits for the most part are philanthropists. I can never say that right.
It's okay.
Right, philanthropist. Yeah. So those are the people that they want to give back, especially if you're coming with that reciprocity energy. If you're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I want to volunteer, what are some areas that you're not serving, or what are some areas you're already seeing the gaps in? How can we partner? How can we serve together? Like attracts like. People want to attract to that energy. So like you said, a lot of times they're open to sharing information.
Yes.
Shout out to Colean. Thank you so much, Colean. She actually took in one of our had a conversation with one of our nonprofit organizations that was just getting started in her field, and which is an area of housing as well. And they had a nice long conversation. She took that time to mentor because she's already kind of done a couple of things, and she was maybe like right here on the journey, and the other organization was right here on the journey. And so many times that's a part of sowing seeds as well. Looking at where am I at on my journey? How can I go back and help someone else? How can I help someone
Indeed.
beginning stages and beginning
Mm-hmm.
started? And I feel like spiritually that only those seeds eventually end up
Open
being
up more doors.
open up more doors as well.
Yep.
Also, so yeah, definitely shout out. Hey, Reginald Butler. Hello, Reggie. Oh, I'm used to seeing Reggie. Reginald Butler. That's his whole full name. Big moves happen from small steps. Oh my
Indeed.
gosh! Shout out to his coaching. He actually, where did you get a chance to watch? He's been on a couple of episodes. He does, and I'm not going to say it. He does disc coaching, but he wants me to call it something else. Personality assessments, I would say, or no, relationship to relationship preferences. I got it. Relationship preferences coaching. And he just really talks about how you can really be the best version of you. And I would say
Gotcha.
after our coaching, our business coaching with his program, it
Mm-hmm.
just changed the whole game. And that really assesses to the point you were making on investing in relationships and
Mm-hmm.
investing in other people that may be able to tweak what you have a little bit, because I personally believe we are made to work together. Let's talk
Indeed.
about some partnerships. Have you already? I think you were talking a little bit about a partnership that you already started creating with your nonprofit earlier. But tell us about any partnerships specifically that you have that you think have been beneficial.
Well, I don't necessarily well, just with the Costco, and I've gone out and I've filled out those applications for like Walmart and Sam's Club and those different things. I don't have necessarily any, I guess, set in stone partnerships. We're working on those types of things. But I did want to say that in the month of April, I think this is what we talked about as well, just showing up for your organization. In the month of April, I did 30 days with Love to Life. And so
Mhm.
every day I posted something, whether it was a video, whether it was an ask of like $2 Tuesdays. I did $2 Tuesdays where people donated $2 to our Cash App, our PayPal, um, those types of avenues, or our Zelle. And it was such a success. We promoted the shirts on there for 30 days, told about the organization, what we want to accomplish, uh, posted a quote. There were times where I would tell my boyfriend, I said, you know, I haven't posted anything today. It's 6 o'clock. He said, but the day is not over. So
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and post it. Whether it's just a simple encouragement to someone else or a quick video at the end of it. I kind of did a wrap up video for people, just thanking them for their support during those 30 days. And I got to get back to that because it really was a way to engage. I
Mm-hmm.
spoke with a high school classmate or middle school classmate who said to me, hey, I would love to, I had a lot of people say, I would love to volunteer. Let me know when you all are doing things. So it opens up that avenue for people to be involved in your organization. But my classmate was telling me he was once homeless. He had a car, so nobody really knew. And luckily he didn't have any children, but he was just saying like all of the shelters for men are overcrowded. You have like long lines from maybe 3 to 6 to get in, and that's all well and good, but they're all in Metro Atlanta. There are none in the suburbs of Atlanta where homelessness is still there as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I want to come to the outskirts, because I understand like, we only have I know in Clayton County there's only one homeless shelter ran by a church, and it's in by 6, out by 6,
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that we are just,
And I
trying
think
to.
I
Go
think
ahead.
as opposed to partnership, just connections and engaging with
Yes,
other people in your community, because those all of those things you listed sound like potential for good partnership.
yes.
I think sometimes we think of formal partnership like, okay, we're officially partners in this way or that way, but that young man, if he was able to come onto your platform and maybe do an interview and talk about some of those gaps and things like that, how he was able to work through it, or maybe even leading eventually one of the programs, because of that conversation that you had and conversations with the schools and things like that. Schools, churches, there are a lot of like I would say community centers. They're
Yes.
consistent partners for nonprofit organizations. So those are all good relationships to just start building.
And thinking of that, like we want to do some parent workshops because, like I said, we need to work on these parents. So I do want to have Love to Life partner with our school systems to have the parents come in maybe on a Saturday or evening to do some workshops with them that focuses just on them, because a lot of schools will do. You'll have your parent nights, but those parent nights are focused on giving the parents what the children learn and
Mm-hmm.
not focus just on their needs. Because again, when we don't fill up their buckets, they don't have anything to give to their children.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, those partnerships. And then I would love to do like a fall festival where I include or invite other local nonprofits to share what they're doing. I have a old coworker who has a nonprofit and she does tutoring for students. And so, just making sure that you're not so focused on not partnering with other people, because that's the value in just growing and getting everybody out there, because somebody can help in ways that you can't.
And the truth of the matter is, nonprofits should be mission focused.
Mhm.
So when you are mission focused, that takes the ego out of it. Mission focused means that as long as this mission is being accomplished, then I'm good. It may
Yes.
mean partnering with another organization who can accomplish a portion of that mission. You should be all for it because your mission is the community that you serve. And that takes the ego out of it a little bit. Sometimes a lot of nonprofits go into a field that may already be serviced. It may already
Mm.
be because they didn't take the time to do the research, find the gaps, make sure it's not about their ego, but it's really truthfully about serving that area of the community. And
Mhm.
when you're really truthfully serving a certain area of the community, people are going to rally behind you no matter what, because if an area of the community is not being serviced, it affects the other people in the community no matter what, and they're
Mhm.
all affected by that. So you want to start to find those key players and find those people who are really being affected by it. It may be government, it may be schools, it may be some of those community areas that are also affected by this area, and partner and create those relationships and things. Let's talk a little bit about like discouragement. Has there been a time where you really felt like, I can't get this done today? Or how do you really deal with, because everybody deals with those times where it feels like, oh my gosh, this is moving too slow, or this is what really grounds you when you're feeling that vibe?
I would say this. I got a mantra or a mantra band, and it says, remember your why.
Hmm.
Just remember your why. Because at the end of the day, it's not about anybody who's going to bring bad vibes or bad energy to what you're trying to accomplish. And I've learned over the years that telling people about your dream has to be um, somewhat guarded, right?
Hmm.
um, because you can't tell everybody everything, because everybody doesn't understand the vision that you receive, like especially when it comes from God. When you know that God has placed something in your heart and he's giving you the vision, you have to go forward, because he's going to give you everything that you need in order to succeed and accomplish the goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? But everybody doesn't understand that, so they might say, well, why is it so big? Why do you want something that huge? Or you got to start small. And sometimes that is the case. You have to start small so that you can get to the bigger vision, right? And that might
Mm-hmm.
take some years, but protect your peace.
Yeah.
Protect your peace, um stay around people that are going to encourage you and motivate you towards moving forward. If they're
Mm-hmm.
telling you to stop, or, oh, you can't do that, like, okay, so I always say, put people in the boxes that they create for themselves. So
Yeah.
once you know where somebody stands as far as supporting your organization, put them in the box and leave them there. You might not want to say anything to them. There are some people that I've already decided, hey, okay, so you said this one thing, so I'll just invite you to the ribbon cutting when it's all said and done, so you can see that there has
Uh-huh.
been work
Mm-hmm.
being done, whether you knew it or not. And so I just want you to see that this was something that was going to happen, whether you supported it or not. So remember your
Absolutely.
why. Remember your why.
I love that.
Hmm.
I love that. There's a biblical verse that says, don't cast your pearls upon swine. And it just
Hmm.
means that if you're sharing your vision, if you're sharing your truth, if you're sharing your authenticity, if you're sharing something that you feel called to, if you're sharing what you feel like God called you to do this and your ideas, those should be in sacred places. So those
Yes.
should be in places where it's of like energy, of supportive energy, of loving energy. Because the thing about it is that people project their insecurities on you. It's not really about them. But if they hear you doing something and they're doing something that they feel like is regular, they'll be like, you know what? Well, why don't you just get a job? Or why don't you just go work for them?
Hmm.
Because God called me to do something different. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
And that's just a natural thing that people do, and we have to deal with that because we deal with people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just a part of it. So that was
Yeah.
very important to protect your vision. She said, protect your
Yes.
vision, protect your purpose, protect what you're doing, and protect your energy. Protect your energy. Really like assess, is this a person that I should be open up to this about? And why am I opening up to this from them? Are they going to be able to provide me some sound advice? Have they started a nonprofit? Are they, what is their path?
Hmm.
Because they can only give you advice and support from where they come from. And that's no negativity, because this ain't for
It is. Yeah.
what someone else was saying on here before. It's not for them. It's not for them to understand. It's for you to
Mhm.
understand and for you to take those next steps. And somebody or multiple people around you is going to be encouraged by that. They're going to see you taking those next steps and they're going to be encouraged. They're going to be like, you know what? She can do it. I can do it. Let me go ahead and take my next step as well. And those are the people that you want to focus on, not the people who
Indeed.
are not encouraging you or who are like, I don't know, or that takes too much and things like that. So that's a very important piece, because the people that you have around you, that does affect your energy.
It does. I mean, I would say that having conversations even with my boyfriend, I think the Reginald Butler that chimed in, was my Reginald Butler,
Oh
not
yeah,
the
I
church.
forgot we have two. I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta remember that's several people now. And so I gotta
Yes.
remember that we have multiple people with the same first and last name. Well, hello, shout out to you because I know you show the support to Joycelyn as well. So
And
yes.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Like he has been a great support and motivator. He, was starting his nonprofit, and I was like, oh my gosh! Like we had already talked about both of our nonprofits, and they can work together. But that motivated me, that encouraged me because I was like, oh my gosh, he's doing it. He's doing
Mhm,
it. And
mhm.
that's exciting. And so I was like a few steps behind him getting like incorporated and getting the 501c3. Like we pretty much got it at the same time. And it is encouraging. It is like it feeds your soul when you can have conversations with people that are close to you, and they're saying, okay, well, what's the next thing? What are we going to do
Right.
next? How are we going to build upon what we already have? So it is so important to have great energy and great people around you that understand and can have those, okay, so what's next? How can I
Mhm.
help you? You know, when you have those type of people on my board, they're just like, oh, Smith, we're going to sit down and we're going to come up with these workshops. We're going to come up with how do we interview people for these houses, for a place or for a room, because you do have to know, like, what are their goals? You want to help people, but you're not going to be able to help everybody.
That's
And
right.
so that's important as well. Like, okay, do you fit what we're trying to do? And do we fit into what you're trying to do?
Absolutely.
Because that's a partnership. That will be a partnership that you're
Mhm.
building and a network, because that's going to become family. Those people that we help within Love to Life, I want them to be able to come back and, like you said, pull the next group of families up to
Absolutely.
say, hey, this is how Love to Life has helped me. What do you need? What do you need? Because that's really what makes the world go round. We need more love, support, and just good vibes and good energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. That you want, and not to mention, these are going to be your results. So the
Yes.
people that you're helping, this is going to be the results that funders and grants are asking for the information from and testimonials from. So you want to partner with, because again, those are partnerships as well. You want to partner
Mhm.
with people that you can create some great results for. So you can say, look at this sister and where she started off and how we were able to help her. Another thing you mentioned that was huge is you can't help everybody. There's a saying that goes in the business world, if you're trying to help everybody, you're not going to help nobody. So
Mhm.
you have to decipher who can you help the most. Where is this gap that really needs to be filled? Like you said, who's not being helped? These people aren't being helped because of this or because of that. Okay, I understand that there are programs in my area for single moms. Okay, so that's great. That's not an area I want to look for, specifically the area of people that need the help the most. So it's so important to define what that is for yourself and for those individuals, because there are, even for our specific services, there's a point that you kind of have to be at. You have to be where you're
Mhm.
at, Joycelyn, where you know that you're called to do something and you're ready to go with it. We're not really at the point of coaching where we're going to, like, I used to be, where I would carry the
Mhm.
vision for you, I would say. There's
Oh
a
wow, yeah.
little bit of a story time about carrying the vision when I broke that burden. We were actually partnering or volunteering with a nonprofit organization locally that I now am going to be serving on the board for this fall. And there was a young lady, and she had a baby in like a carriage, like I don't have my baby is 6. So, but
Okay.
the thing, and you put it under here, and you go like that.
Mhm.
And so this is like maybe about like a couple of years ago. She had this baby, and she had a whole lot of other things going on. And we were on this big church campus, and we realized we were in the wrong area. And me and my husband were there, and I was like, you know what? We got to go all the way over here across campus. And she just looked like she was struggling. And I forgot what my husband was doing. He was doing something. He had all my things or something like that. But I was like, you want me to carry your baby? And she was like,
Mhm.
and she said, yeah, go ahead. That was the hardest track. I had my heels on and this baby. And by the time I was like, oh my goodness, I am not used to carrying these babies like this. But
Mhm.
I needed to carry that baby because I had the most spiritual, the biggest spiritual revelation, aha moment after that, that's what I sometimes do for my clients at that time. I would be more excited about their vision than they were. I'm trying to carry it for them. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's. That can be a disservice because
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can't be more excited for someone's vision that was supposed to be given to them by God than they are. You know what I mean? And so it just changed my whole style of coaching and how
Yes,
I connected and everything like that. You know what I mean? And so it's so important for you to partner with the people that you're going to be able to impact the most, that you're not
yes.
going to be trying to carry them or whatever the case may be, because you want to be of your greatest impact while you're here. We got a couple of comments and questions that I'm going to read through really quickly. Colleen
Okay.
said, Joycelyn, you are talking. Everybody is not your support, is not you here to support you. Absolutely. Your support group. That's what that was. Absolutely not. And we have to be okay with talking about that and be okay. It doesn't mean you don't love someone. It doesn't mean, it doesn't mean any negative vibes. It's just like, oh, okay, you're not in my support group for this season in my life, and that's okay. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That's okay, because they may just not be to that level of where they can really support you at that time. Amen. Yes. Colleen said yes. All love and honor to the lovely ladies. I want to mention this as well, guys. That's Reginald Butler as well. Let me tell y'all, it is something about building together, building a vision together that nobody sees yet and hasn't been manifested yet. If you find that energy, and I don't care if it is the person that you're with, if it's your mama, if it's your kid, whoever it is that supports you and they got your back. I listened to Michael Beckwith. Look that name up, guys. If any of you all have heard of him, which he's all about energy and abundance and things like that. But he has a song that says, "Who loves you, baby? Who got your back?" That's what you should be focused on. It might just be one person. That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Great.
okay. Yep.
So that's one person that got my back and that's here to support me. But there is something about someone who supports you before it happens that is sexy about that journey, that is empowering about that journey, that if it's with another sister, that's super sacred and bonding with that journey. You know what I mean? And so when you find people that are building something and you guys can build together, an accountability partner, this might be a person that you don't know. It might be a new person. You may have to go out into a group of people, that Facebook groups where you can link with some people and some individuals who are on the same path as you, have a similar vision to you, and those connections might grow stronger than even some of your family connections. But I want to just piggyback on you on that, on having that support around you and
Yes.
focusing on that as
Yes.
opposed to the ones that are not supportive.
Yes. And I would. Oh, go ahead. No, I was gonna say, when you said, getting into different groups. I'm a part of Blacks and Nonprofit for Newbies. I have joined my local Clayton County Chamber of Commerce so that I can go to different things and network with people and send emails and say, hey, do you know somebody that, could possibly set me up with a office space, if that's the case,
Mhm.
because people donate office spaces. So you just have to, like, again, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to just have the conversation. Don't be afraid.
Don't be
You got
afraid.
this. You got this.
Absolutely. And there are some people who are going to say no, and there's some people who are going to say yes. And sometimes you hear there's people who actually have studied this and have said, like, there's like normally 11 no's for every yes. But
Yes,
you got to get through those no's to get to that yes. And
indeed.
you have to practice that muscle of that. From the last live that we did, I've been supposed to post a summary of some of the things I pulled from that, because I pulled so much from
Mm,
that last conversation. But one of the biggest areas I pulled from it is, where can you grow in your impact? What are some things you can do to grow in your impact? And what I pulled was with Andrew. If you guys didn't see that, go ahead back and watch that after this one. Number one is time. He's
yes.
putting time into his organization, daily time. So that may be an area you need to stretch yourself. How much time are you really putting towards your vision and your mission? He's his biggest donor. He
Yes.
donates. He talked about anything he got left, donates to the mission, goes to a lot of times we ask for donations and things like that, but we aren't willing to invest in our mission and invest in our vision. So that
But
was
you have to. You have
absolutely.
to, in order for it to grow. Because if the people that are around you are no, like, they know that you are giving to the organization yourself, then they're more apt to say, hey, okay, we're really moving, and she's willing to also invest even more than what she's asking of us. So you have
Mhm.
to. You have to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just something that you have to do. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be willing to invest your time, you have to be willing to invest your money. The last thing, which what you were just talking about, is your voice. Your How much are you talking about it? Who are you talking about it to? Your friends, they should want to hear about the things you're working on anyway. Hey, can I give some feedback? Can I tell you my nonprofit idea and get some feedback? If you were to donate, would you donate, or why you wouldn't donate, so that I can know, where I need to tweak it. You know what I mean? Coming onto Facebook or coming onto social media, that's a great platform to practice sharing your mission and spreading your mission and things like that as well. Absolutely.
Yes.
Colleen said, and people, when you are feeling overwhelmed, they can encourage and talk you off the ledge. Yeah. Yeah, when you have those supportive people around you that you can really open up to and just be real with, and just share what's going on. Right now, we are simplifying our business. We're simplifying everything because that's where my heart is, to really simplify. Number one, because we're connected to over 4,000 nonprofits and leaders. And it's so important for me to let, specifically, our organization serves majority 90% minorities. So it's so important for them to understand that it doesn't have to be complicated. You can also have self care. You can still have time to meditate. You can go to bed on time and still get your mission done. Matter of fact, it'll probably come out better because you got some rest. Get some rest, girl. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is a God given vision. He wants you to get some rest. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's so important for us to simplify right now. The reason I got to that point, because of overwhelm sometimes with different processes and things that we're smoothing out right now, which is why I'll pop in with our little announcement here, guys. For the summer, we're going to be actually posting recordings. We're going to be shooting our interviews in advance. So it opens up the time for us to be able to interview more people, and also for us to be able to go on to other platforms that we've been wanting to go on. Specifically, Joycelyn was saying she tied to us from Kareem. And if you guys didn't see that video, we did that about a year ago. So we're wanting to go back onto that platform as well. So we're just making some adjustments as well. Sometimes you have to edit and adjust. Have you had
Mm-hmm.
to do that since the beginning? I know it's early on, but have you had some times of editing yet?
Well, just kind of going with the flow. Yeah. You
Yeah.
just, and as a school counselor, that's my life. You
Ooh, yeah.
might walk into
Mhm.
the building and you're hit with this, and this, and that's not exactly how you planned your day. So there's always, editing with the nonprofit and your organization, because you may think of something that may take you on a journey that you weren't prepared for, or that you didn't even know was around the bend, as they say. So,
Absolutely.
mhm,
Absolutely. And that's amazing. I think that it's great that you are in like the heart of research, because
mhm,
you're tied to the community with your work. So guys, if you are working full time and starting your nonprofit part time right now, if there are some ways that what you're doing full time can benefit the work that you're doing, like if you're like, oh, I'm doing the research here anyway, so this is giving me some ideas of what gaps need to be filled and things like that as well. Just know that I personally believe that everything happens for a reason. You're at the place you're at for a reason. So make sure you're opening up and seeing the opportunities, even if it's something that you want to eventually transition out of. Well, I want to transition out of this, but how can I give this my all now? How can I make sure I learn everything I can learn in this position now? And how can this benefit benefit your nonprofit at this moment right now? Colleen said, and people, oh, yep, we read that one. Yep, they could talk
mhm.
you off the ledge. Absolutely. So it's so important to have those good relationships, true support those that support, that are the support for others. Many times those who are being of service don't get that reciprocated. Absolutely. And they need to be refilled or rejuvenated too. I want to read that one more time. Yes, absolutely. Sometimes you're so supportive. I know there was a point in time in my life where I felt like I had to be at everything. I felt like I had to do everything. I felt like I had to be a support to everyone. Whether or not I knew for sure, because I didn't have times where I needed support at that time, whether or not they would be of support for me. And when I started to
Mhm.
hit moments where I needed support, that was when I really realized who the key players in my life and in my relationships and in my family were. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And so make sure you are, again, creating those and tying into those relationships that are mutually supportive. You're supporting them, they're supporting you. When your cup is a little low, they're poured into your cup, same, and vice versa for them. Those are the relationships you want to build, and those are your sacred relationships. They really are, and they're few and far in between. So
Yeah.
when you have relationships like that in your life, appreciate them,
Yes,
absolutely.
for sure.
Keandra said, "That's so real, Tracy. You can't be more excited about someone else's vision than them." Yes. And opposite of that, another thing that I learned this past couple of months, someone said was, I can't be more mad about a situation or a person or something somebody did to you than you are.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can tied in relationships and something happens and the other person more mad, they didn't got over it. They didn't, the person that it actually happened to, but your
Hmm.
friends and your family are still mad about the situation. I had to remind myself of that. You know what? If you're fine with whatever happened, that's okay as well. But that's so important. Absolutely. Thank
Yes.
you, Nana. She said awesome info, guys, at the perfect time, which we are wrapping up. And before we do, we got one more question on here that I missed.
Mona asked, "What's the name again of the organization that she got the grant info from?" Earlier,
Oh,
she
we're going to
mentioned.
put the link on here as well.
Oh,
That was
but urban awareness,
urban
urban
awareness. We'll
awareness.
make sure that we add the link on there as well,
Hmm.
urban awareness, guys. And guys, if you're looking for coaching specifically when it comes to nonprofit, we have a dynamic nonprofit coaching program
Yes.
as well. So, guys, make sure you reach out to me. We share all types of funding tips, organization tips, time management tips, compliancy tips, and basically our goal is to take a nonprofit from their first to their fifth year and get them to the point of having full-time staff. So if that meets your area, if you're in that newbie stage of nonprofits, then go ahead and reach out to us as well. But we'll make sure we include that information below. Also, before we go, Joycelyn, is there a specific area or a specific project that you guys are raising funds for right now?
Where our book bag fill ups or just a back to school event. We want to fill up some book bags and give to students. And everybody, a lot of nonprofits will do that. So we're trying to kind of come to the table and see if we want to revamp that. But either way, we want to do something for back to school. And if not for back to school, that fall festival where we can invite the community out to do some fun activities. So that's really what we're gearing up for. And the idea of a sneaker ball at the end of this year,
Yeah.
because I love that idea. I loved that idea. So you all tune into Tracy's podcast because I'm telling you, you get so many ideas, information. Just it's great. It's great. So I tune in almost every Saturday since I've, been on with you. So the information that I get, I'm like, okay, I can recreate what she's doing in Chicago, and just,
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
Absolutely.
hmm.
Absolutely, guys, and I thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Our content is even about to change for the better because we'll be able to interview more people and things like that. So it's going to get even better, guys. And within this next season, as we're going into summer here, again, we're still going to be sharing. It'll just be the recorded format, and then we'll be popping in here and there live as well, guys. Thank you so much, Joycelyn, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Guys, if you want to know what type of content we have, we're basically always linking with nonprofits that are either reaching some success in the grant area, in the program area, or they're having some questions or things that we can learn from. We're basically learning from each other. We have a community here of over 4,000 nonprofits just like yourself. If you want to join this community again, feel free to reach out to us. And guys, we will be here next Saturday, but we'll be posting a video, so make sure you're looking out for that. Also, if you're not on our newsletter, go on over to clarkandclark.org and join our newsletter because that's where you find out all of the different things going on specifically this June. Joycelyn, I'm telling you now. But this June, we have several small group coaching programs that's going to be going on for our one-on-one coaching clients. So we actually have 3 big titles coming out this June, guys, and those will be on Wednesday for the ones who are in our coaching program as well, guys. Thanks again, Joycelyn, guys. If you want to reach out to her organization, if you want to donate towards one of the projects she just spoke of, her links will also be here as well. Kendra said, Joycelyn, can you drop your email? We can collaborate for the book bag drive. All right. That's what this is all about,
Yeah.
guys. That's what we were saying. As you speak, then you're able to link, you're able to collaborate. Yep, we'll put that in the comments here as well. What is are you typing in now, Joycelyn?
Hmm.
Awesome. So I'm going to share that, guys, and we'll also have her website linked here as well. I'm posting that in here now. There it is. And thank you so much, guys, for watching today. We really appreciate your time and that you take the time to tune in. We really appreciate it, guys. We hope that you also take some time today, as we spoke on, and dedicate 30 minutes. You still got time. It's almost 12 o'clock. It's a Saturday. You can go ahead and decide, what is one thing I want to do for my nonprofit today? After hearing this, that's what they was talking about. What's one thing I want to dedicate 30 minutes to do? It might be research. It might be searching your name if you haven't started your nonprofit yet. It might be a phone call. But go ahead and think of something that you can do with 30 minutes of your time today that will move your nonprofit up. And I tell you guys, if you do that every day, you look up 2-3 months down the line, your nonprofit has taken 90 steps towards its vision, and you'll be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've gotten all these things done. So that's one thing I would challenge you with today. And the second thing I'll challenge you with this weekend is taking some time for self-care. There's always time for self-care in this community. Take some time to just connect. Take some time to revamp. Take some time to simplify. How can I simplify this? You know what? I'm a little overwhelmed. Take some time to connect. You might even end up hearing something from your source, your creator, that may simplify things, guys. So that might be something that you could do this weekend as well. And I will see you guys next Saturday for those coaching clients. I will see you all, not this coming week, but the next coming week as well, you all. And thank you so much again for joining. Colleen said, ladies, have a great weekend. Thank you, Colleen. You do the same.